sad news, but
Yes.
the good news is, well, our Speaker of Parliament and the husband received a set of twins.
Yes.
And that is good news.
Yes. So the Speaker of Parliament, the Parliament of Uganda, Anita Annette Among, and her husband Magogo welcomed a set of twins. From what we get, the mother and the babies are in good health. And I am excited for the Speaker. I know that having a baby at whatever time in your life, at whatever point in your life, is amazing, amazing news. So I believe the Speaker is, you know, over the moon, excited. And of course, as someone that has ever welcomed a band of joy, you know, one too many, I am excited for her. And from us here at Good Morning Uganda, we say congratulations to the happy couple. And of course, we pray that your babies may be healthy and that God may guide you as you raise them. But I need to check on the other people on the team, and I'll start with Chantal Olive. How are you this morning?
Fairly well. How are you, Olive?
I am great.
How's your night?
Oh, night was awesome.
After receiving the good news of the
gosh.
twins, you know,
Happy.
I was thinking to myself, I think I should plan for like next year to get my set. Yeah.
You're set.
Yes.
You also want a set.
Yes.
Careful what you wish for.
No. I'm
lately-
very serious about this. I want to become a Nalongo.
What if you get plates? Those are nice.
So what? I can't hear you.
9 babies. Or quads. At least 4.
No. I want 2.
2.
Yes. I want 2 that look like me and their father.
Oh.
After assessing how he will look like. But
No
good
deal
morning,
any
dear
date.
Ugandans. Welcome to the show. My name is Chantal Olive Akandinda. We are glad that you get to be part of this family every single morning.
Well, and like she said, we are glad that you're part of this show every single morning. Good morning, JP Live. Today is not Friday, but I'm in the mood.
Well, good morning, and good morning to our dear Ugandans. Well, speaking of the good news, by the way, I was one of the few Ugandans out there who, first of all,
Didn't know.
no. Besides the did know, was I was actually one of the few Ugandans who were still having questions about the rightful age of when these particular women get to give birth and everything. But then later on, I got to realize that at times we have to celebrate a baby, like you've mentioned in your introduction, that regardless of the age that the woman conceives or gives birth, it is rightful for us to be very, joyous upon such information. I received the information quite late. I wasn't so much on social media as of yesterday daytime, but then most of the information was trending online and everything, and going on to the X app, the very first,
Your favorite app.
Exactly, my favorite app. The very first tweet I saw was for the Right Honorable Deputy Speaker to Parliament, who was congratulating the main speaker. And of course, I'm joining the rest of the team here as well to congratulate the speaker and the FUFA president, who is also a member of Parliament, upon being a Salongo. Back then in primary, I was nicknamed Salongo. For matters I'll keep
All right.
a secret as of now. But anyway, I hope I live to experience the joy of being a Salongo. So it's definitely something to actually pick from. Though there is also something that I would actually want to share out this particular morning because of circumstances that have actually happened quite earlier as I was coming this morning, around 5 o'clock. Well, I think KCCA has not done enough around the Chinawataka lane. That is for the people who actually use Nambole, Chinawataka as you're heading to Mbuya. The road is in shambles, and sadly this morning you get to realize that even school-going children who use buses, almost today we were going to report information about a school bus getting involved in an accident.
Are you serious?
So when you come to look at such situations, you realize that we really need our roads put back in shape or put back in order, Otherwise, it's very terrible. It has deep potholes. As you're heading to Nakawa, you're heading to Mbuya, it is the same lane. And of course, I think KCCA needs to as well look through that particular lane.
That's really sad. I have a friend who around that lane also got into a car accident a few years ago, and unfortunately for him, or fortunately, unfortunately, he broke both of his legs, but fortunately he is alive, because in the accident there were like 15 people, and he says that I think the survivors are like 2. The rest died on their way being dropped off to the hospital. They were bounced, from different hospitals, being told they couldn't be handled. And by the time they reached Mulago National Referral Hospital, most of his colleagues that were in the bus with him that early morning had unfortunately perished. So when Sonko mentions about our roads, and we've had these discussions here on Good Morning Uganda, where road carnage had become like something we were talking about pretty much every single day. And every time Uganda police would release a traffic report every week, they would be telling us 40 people died, 60 people died, and that was so concerning. And of course, it used to be reported that majority of the people who die in these accidents are border riders, and then their passengers, and then of course other people, pedestrians as well. So we really need our roads to be fixed, because this is infrastructure is very important to any country. But also the other aspect away from the fatalities is the time that we lose on the roads because of bad roads, because of potholes. It is said that it is estimated that over 24,000 hours are lost by Ugandans on the roads in a year. Now you can bring it down with your mathematics and see how many hours you spend on the road to work and from work. You could find that you spend so much time on the road, and it is taking so much away from you. So we really need our authorities to work on these roads, because we need a better road system. But anyway, going away from that, we have had the story, the news about these gentlemen. Should I even call them gentlemen? The men that killed Maria Nagirinya. They kidnapped her from her gate as her brother was opening her gate in some parts of Lunguja, and they kidnapped her and her driver and drove them along Ginger Road and murdered them. Now last week, these men were sentenced to life. 2 of the convicts were sentenced to life in prison, and one of them, Kopriam Kasolo, has already appealed his case. He's saying that the matter was harshly and hastily, effected. But if you've been following this case, you know that this man has actually been wasting court's time. The trial judge even said that the reason why he sentenced him and his other colleague to life in prison was because they showed no remorse at any single point during the trial, and even said that they weren't fazed. This is the gentleman that would be called to court, and then he tells the judge that he was busy in prison. What do you do in prison that makes you busy?
Actually, in my lifetime as a journalist, and I did cover court, it was the first time on record that I saw
the accused,
an inmate being presented before court, telling the judge is going to be busy. But also, it was my first time that I saw a suspect, now convicted Kasoro, who was so confident and performed a number of roles in court. This character is unique, I must say. His courage, his confidence throughout the trial. If you're even following some clips on social media, Kasoro is not an ordinary person. The way he was doing his things, and that confidence, he had just returned from prison.
Yes.
And that confidence would rush you to believe that this character could have committed this offense. But the good thing now, he was convicted by a competent court. So we can truly say he he committed the offense. However, in our judicial proceedings and in our laws that govern this country, he has the right to appeal.
Yes,
So
he does.
it is a right. He has the right to appeal.
Because he actually says court didn't give him enough time.
Yes, so there is no wrong. There is no wrong that he's doing. It's legally right. Morally, that is where the question could be, and in what we call the public court.
No, there is
The
no
people-
role in him appealing the case, rather the sentence. But also he says, like Sonko was putting it, that he wasn't given enough time to prepare his defense, and also says that the trial judge denied him the amount of money that he had requested for to organize his defense.
know how
He had
much
asked
that man
for
had asked
50
for?
million shillings.
50 million to
Yes.
advertise in the papers, to get his witnesses.
Do
come
we even
through.
legally do this?
I mean, did he? There's this Castle. I said he was a unique character. There is the way he didn't take court serious, I must say.
Yes.
There is the way he put drama. There is the way he wasted court's time. There is the way he became just confusing and time wastage that I don't think he has any moral ground, not legal, but any moral ground to stand and say he should appeal, despite that being his right.
Well, we will be following this story, and if there are any updates, we will make sure to bring them back to you. But as for now, we are going to give you the local news stories that we have managed to gather for you this morning.
And we'll begin with the late Chiemba service that was held yesterday, where President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni and Buganda Kingdom paid tribute to the outstanding service rendered to the country by former Minister of State in Office of the President and former Jinja West Member of Parliament, Henry Kasaija Mugamba Jemba, who passed away recently. They conveyed their message through their representatives, the third Deputy Prime Minister, Hajjat Rukia Isanga Nakadama, and the second Deputy Katikkiro of Buganda, Robert Wagwansibirwa, at the prayer service to celebrate the life of the late that was held at St. Paul's Cathedral in Namirembe.
May his soul rest in eternal peace. Now, moving on, President Yoweri Museveni has advised leaders in Teso sub-region to promote unity among the citizens. He urged the leadership to avoid ethnic tensions which cause division, which ruins development. The remarks were in a speech read by the Vice President Jessica Alupo during celebrations to mark the first anniversary of His Royal Highness Paul Sunday Etomileng Emolot, the Emorimo of Teso III at Soroti Independence Grounds in Soroti City. President Museveni congratulated the people of Teso upon celebrating of the first year since installation of the Emorimo and hailed him for the support he has shown since installation.
And now over to matters of security. Police spokesperson Fred Enanga told the media weekly security briefing at Naguru Police Headquarters that they have reinforced their operations against ADF remnants trying to re-establish in different parts of the country. The killing of 2 tourists in Queen Elizabeth National Park by suspected ADF rebels reignited security operations against ADF terror activities in different parts of the country. Police confirmed re-establishment of a new ADF cell and different recruitment centers to destabilize peace. On the repatriation of murdered tourists in Queen Elizabeth, police are collaborating with their countries of origin. To date, UPDF, Mountain Brigade and police are working with Uganda Wildlife Authority to search for the suspected ADF murderers who allegedly killed 2 tourists in Uganda and a tour guide in Kasese.
And lastly, on the local scene, Uganda National Examinations Board has accounted for the progress of the 2023 Uganda Certificate of Examinations Week 1. The NEB spokesperson Jennifer Kalule has reported the death of 2 students who succumbed to sickle cell. Kalule has highlighted on the arrests so far made in relation to exam malpractice and commits for the proper handling through the exams period.
And away from that, internationally, we cross over to Israel. Now, frantic rescue operation underway as latest Israeli strikes kill several people, including women and children, in northern Gaza's Al-Shati refugee camp, as well as southern Khan Yunis. At least 436 Palestinians reported killed in the last 24 hours. Hamas armed wings say Hamas armed wing says it released 2 elderly captives held in Gaza after Qatari and Egyptian mediation, as Gaza's Ministry of Health denounces multiple massacres by Israel. Now, Israel Defense Minister, that is Yoav Gallant, tells Israeli forces to prepare for an air, ground and sea operation into Gaza, adding that the operation will come soon. At least 5,087 Palestinians have been killed in Israeli attacks on Gaza, while more than 1,400 people have been killed in Israel since October 7th. Away from that, former President Donald Trump is so far declining to endorse any candidate as the Republican nominee for House Keeper, saying yesterday that he is aiming to stay out of the race for now, even as some of the contenders seek his backing. House of Republicans held a forum yesterday night behind closed doors with the candidates for Speaker. Representative Dan Muser of Pennsylvania dropped out, bringing down the total number of the GOP contenders from 9 to 8. Trump weighed in on the House GOP's effort to elect a new speaker during a campaign stop in New Hampshire, where he filed to run in the state's GOP primary. It's unclear how much of an impact the former president's backing would have on the race for Speaker. He endorsed Representative Jim Jordan's bid last week, but after 3 failed rounds of voting on the House floor, the Ohio congressman was forced to drop out of the race on Friday. Moving on, the government of Rwanda says it has sent humanitarian assistance to the Palestinian people in Gaza. In a brief written statement sent to the BBC Great Lakes, the government's deputy spokesperson, Aliane Mukuralinda, said the donation was sent to the Jordan Heshmite charity organization and has arrived in the Jordanian capital, Amman. It was made in support to the ongoing international rescue effort, Mr. Mukuralinda wrote. The donation comprises 16 tons of food items, medicines, and medical supplies, he said, adding Rwanda reiterates the need for a de-escalation to protect the lives of innocent civilians. Rwanda is one of the countries on the continent that has close ties with Israel. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu visited Rwanda in 2016. Both countries share haunting similarities to the genocide of our own people, Mr. Netanyahu wrote in the visitor's book after touring the memorial for the victims of Rwanda's 1994 genocide. Over 800,000 people, mostly ethnic Tutsi, were massacred in 1994. 6 million Jewish people were killed in the Holocaust during the Second World War. Now, speaking matters climate, in 2021, leaders from the 100 countries and territories representing the vast majority of the world's forests pledged to stop reverse forest loss by 2030. But an annual assessment released yesterday found global deforestation actually increased by 4% last year, and the world remains well off track to meet the 2030 commitment. That 2030 goal is not just nice to have, it's essential for maintaining a livable climate for humanity, warned Erin Matson, a leader author of the Forest Declaration Assessment. Forests are not only key habitats for animal life, but serve as important regulators of the global climate and carbon sponges that suck in the emissions human activity belches out. However, deforestation last year was over 20% higher than it should have been to meet the leaders' pledge, with 6.6 million hectares of forest lost, much of it primary forest in tropical regions. The assessment, overseen by more than 24 environmental groups and research organizations, also warns that forest degradation remains a huge problem. That is it for climate news and what is happening on the international scene.
Well, right about now, we cross over to the stories that have graced the front pages of our local newspapers.
And of course, we start off with the New Vision, as the New Vision highlights tycoon building on Lugogo Water Channel halted. The businessman fails to avail plans and design for the works. It's what the New Vision is highlighting today at the front pages. President Museveni, President and Mrs. Museveni meet Burundi First Lady. And besides that, worst districts for mothers named. You can read about the same. Parenthood speaker among gets twins. Read about that particular report, as top profit-making government entities have as well been highlighted. Now also, the Daily Monitor, government to roll out new injectable HIV drug. A developing report, that one. And then inside Bugembe Cathedral, the host of Busoga royal wedding as the Busoga kingdom prepares. Then among Magogo get twin sons. Read about the same in the Daily Monitor. RDC to mediate in Kabale LC5 mayor fight, as Besige allies to start nationwide mobilization. As in the other news, Kayunga hunts wife for kin dumped by man on Facebook. I beg your pardon. Kayunga hunts wife for kin dumped by man on Facebook, as College Wairaka structures in ruins. You can read more of the same with the Daily Monitor this Tuesday. And well, of course, later on we shall be looking at other papers across the region.
Jerome Paul Sonko for that news report. You know, like I said earlier, I'm excited about the fact that the speaker had twins, but also I'm like, I want to be important one day like this, so that the birth of my children makes makes the headlines. But thank you so much for being a part. Chirabo, why are you laughing at me?
You know, actually, among the stories Sonko talked about, for me what caught my attention was the rollout of an injectable.
Yes.
Prevention drug for HIV, where you get this injection and for the next 2 months you cannot acquire HIV. Yes, it's for 2 months.
That is massive.
They inject you that injection, and it's been around, by the way. It's not just something, but maybe they're just going to officially launch
it. wasn't readily available in our market, or what?
It was to a certain group, but they were giving to certain vulnerable groups, the prostitutes, those that, but you know, 2 months. Now, please let this not encourage
promiscuity.
2 months once you have this injection, you cannot contract HIV. But also there is a ring, a vaginal ring that they insert, and that works for 1 month. As long as a lady has it inserted, for 1 month she cannot contract HIV/AIDS. However, for the ring, it only prevents sexual transmission. But for the injection, plicking, kissing and all that.
So even if you are involved in an accident,
yes, with the injection, then it's like you've taken post. So I'm wondering what Uganda is going to be, and I'm seeing us ending HIV by 2030, which is the global target.
Which is the goal, yes, yes, yes. We have made tremendous moves when it comes to the fight against HIV/AIDS, and honestly speaking, I will commend, first of all, President Museveni and his government, because they have done quite a great job. Because honestly speaking, if you're to look back where we came from in the 80s, early 80s, mid 80s, early 90s, some of us were young around that time, and there is a family everywhere that at least lost one relative to HIV/AIDS. Back then, they would just look at you and say, "Oyembaya muluma." But today, you cannot even tell a person that is HIV positive from one that is not. Right now, we have pre-exposure prophylaxis. We also have post-exposure. Like, we have come a long way, and it has only been the efforts of the government and, of course, the development partners that have financed and made sure that we get to where we are today. Yesterday, we also shared a story where Uganda, Kenya, Tanzania, and other countries were also given money, over $45 million, to research on a vaccine for HIV. So these are great things. But anyway, we will take a short break, and we are going to leave you with Black Eyed Peas. Where is the love?
This is 2 News in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda.
Where is the love?
People killing, people dying. Children hurting, I hear them crying. Can you practice what you preach?
This is Good Morning Uganda.
Today is the 24th of October 2023. Welcome to Good Morning Uganda. My name is Olive Monica Najama, here with the fantastic two, Chantal Chirabo and Robert. Chantal Oliver Candida. Why am I mixing up your names? I think I have done... in Uganda, we don't have that thing where you have right to, join two people, in holy matrimony. Maybe I was trying to get ahead of time. But good morning, Chirawa Robert.
A lovely morning to you, Najuma, and of course our viewers. Thank you so much for waking up with us this morning. We have so much for you, so much, I must say. Of course, some are very interesting stories. We have some good news as well.
Yes, we have good news.
Good news.
Speaking of good news.
Good news and a bit of sad news, but
yes,
the good news is, well, our Speaker of Parliament and the husband received a set of twins.
Yes.
And that is good news.
Yes. So the Speaker of Parliament, the Parliament of Uganda, Anita Annette Among, and her husband Magogo welcomed a set of twins. From what we get, the mother and the babies are in good health, and I am excited for the Speaker. I know that having a baby at whatever time in your life, at whatever point in your life, is amazing, amazing news. So I believe the Speaker is, over the moon, excited. And of course, as someone that has ever welcomed a band of joy, one too many, I am excited for her. And from us here at Good Morning Uganda, we say congratulations to the happy couple. And of course, we pray that your babies may be healthy and that God may guide you as you raise them. But I need to check on the other people on the team, and I'll...
This is Good Morning Uganda.
Today is the 24th of October 2023. Welcome to Good Morning Uganda. My name is Olive Monica Najama, here with the fantastic two, Chantal Chirabo and Robert. Chantal Oliver Candida. Why am I mixing up your names? I think I have done... in Uganda, we don't have that thing where you have right to, join two people, in holy matrimony. Maybe I was trying to get ahead of time. But good morning, Chirawa Robert.
A lovely morning to you, Najuma, and of course our viewers. Thank you so much for waking up with us this morning. We have so much for you, so much, I must say. Of course, some are very interesting stories. We have some good news as well.
Yes, we have good news.
Good news.
Speaking of good news.
Good news and a bit of sad news, but the good news is, well, our Speaker of Parliament and the husband received a set of twins.
Yes.
And that is good news.
Yes. So the Speaker of Parliament, the Parliament of Uganda, Anita Annette Among, and her husband Magogo welcomed a set of twins. From what we get, the mother and the babies are in good health. And I am excited for the speaker. I know that having a baby at whatever time in your life, at whatever point in your life, is amazing, amazing news. So I believe the speaker is, over the moon, excited. And of course, as someone that has ever welcomed a band of joy, one too many, I am excited for her. And from us here at Good Morning Uganda, we say congratulations to the happy couple. And of course, we pray that your babies may be healthy and that God may guide you as you raise them. But I need to check on the other people on the team, and I'll...
This is Good Morning Uganda.
Today is the 24th of October 2023. Welcome to Good Morning Uganda. My name is Olive Monica Najama, here with the fantastic two, Chantal Chirabo and Robert. Chantal Oliver Candina. Why am I mixing up your names? I think I have done... in Uganda, we don't have that thing where you have rights to, join two people, in holy matrimony. Maybe I was trying to get ahead of time. But good morning, Chirabo Robert.
A lovely morning to you, Najuma, and of course our viewers. Thank you so much for waking up with us this morning. We have so much for you, so much, I must say. Of course, some are very interesting stories. We have some good news as well.
Yes, we have good news.
Good news.
Speaking of good news.
Good news and a bit of sad news, but the good news is, well, our Speaker of Parliament and the husband received a set of twins.
Yes.
And that is good news.
Yes. So the Speaker of Parliament, the Parliament of Uganda, Anita Annette Among, and her husband Magogo welcomed a set of twins. From what we get, the mother and the babies are in good health. And I am excited for the speaker. I know that having a baby at whatever time in your life, at whatever point in your life, is amazing, amazing news. So I believe the speaker is, over the moon, excited. And of course, as someone that has ever welcomed a band of joy, one too many, I am excited for her. And from us here at Good Morning Uganda, we say congratulations to the happy couple. And of course, we pray that your babies may be healthy and that God may guide you as you raise them. But I need to check on the other people on the team, and I'll...
This is Good Morning Uganda.
Today is the 24th of October 2023. Welcome to Good Morning Uganda. My name is Olive Monica Najama, here with the fantastic two, Chantal Chirabo and Robert. Chantal Oliver Candina. Why am I mixing up your names? I think I have done... in Uganda, we don't have that thing to know. Now, as you may be aware, Uganda Certificate of Education exams started last week, and this is now week 2 of the examinations that will help our candidates transition to A-level, where they will be able to study for 2 years and then transition to university or any other higher institution of learning. Now, when it comes to national exams, over the years, UNEB has grappled with a cancer, which is malpractice, where sometimes head teachers or teachers or even invigilators involve themselves in malpractice vices. And of course, this year is not different from other years. Though one thing to note is that this year, at least for the past 1 week, the number of schools that have been, or the number of head teachers and teachers that have been caught red-handed carrying out malpractice has gone low compared to last year, because last year we had so many different cases. I remember a case in Kawempe where an aunt paid someone to sit exams for her niece, and then of course a boyfriend who tried to sit exams for his girlfriend. Many cases like that happened last year. This year we've not had them so far, but the exams are supposed to last a month, so we will know by the time the month ends the hits and misses, and of course when the results come back next year, given the number of exam papers or schools whose exams will be withheld, we will know how good or bad the malpractice cancer got. But anyway, coming back to week 1, according to UNEB spokesperson, that is Miss Jennifer Kalule, last week they had some incidents that happened, and actually 2 of them really sad, because 2 candidates succumbed to sickle cell during examinations. These candidates were in different schools, so there is no collusion or anything like that. They were sick, and this led to their demise. May their souls rest in eternal peace. But also we have head teachers that were arrested, and today we have decided to again have a conversation regarding malpractice and of course the national exams in general. And I'll be starting with you, Mr. Chirabo. Good morning once again.
You look lovely.
Thank you. Thank you very much. This whole conversation touches a chord for you. It is very sensitive to you because you're passionate about the education of our children. So every time you hear stories of malpractice in our schools, what comes to your mind?
Well, it is also important that we ask ourselves, why do we see this happening continuously? In the good golden days, people tell us reading examinations about maybe 4 decades back was not something. But currently, and when you look at most of these schools, you're going to find out that these are private schools. And you find out that maybe none is a traditional school. Now first, unhealthy competition, where our education system, success has been defined by the grades one gets. A good school is not the element of discipline, it is how do the children perform in the grading format. And you hear schools, 2010 examination, we performed very well, 100 candidates,
80 first grades.
80 first grades. And a parent would rush there. That's why, moreover, we have so many people who have gone through school, and school has not gone through them. Have so many educated idiots. No, because for me,
I like the paradox.
For us who are there in the days when UTV was showing Flying House, we had a saying by then, and our parents had a saying, if you did anything silly, allow me use that, they would say, Sajo Yeisanga atasoma. That person is acting like they never went to school. Because there's a standard. You'd not just pass through school, cram, get grades. School had to have an impact on your social, economic well-being. How you speak, how you reason, how you behave. It was unheard of educated people to exchange fists. Like what I saw once in Parliament. An educated person to come up and say, it was unheard of. How does a person who has gone through school fight? You use your brains, you reason each other out. So when I say educated idiots, indeed they are there. Now, Why do schools cheat first? Is because of the unhealthy competition. When you see an headmaster in Mitoma, when you see these districts, when you see an aviator in Machindi, why? Because they know the only way of showing that our school is a success is when these results return. And we have so many first grades. They'll cheat exams because they need that. They'll teach cram work and not teach children to understand and be able to solve problems because they must cram what they are going to pass. Now, with this unhealthy way of looking at success in our education system, we cannot, and I want to repeat, we cannot do away with cheating. Then coupled with our method of examinations. You know, if it was assessment, continuous assessment, and if our education system would also look at other areas, we find out how we can assess children, that is not only this final exam. Let me give you a small example. In schools where I went to, we had what they called beginning of term board. It carried 15%.
It's still ongoing. The beginning of term.
We had the midterm. It carried another 15%. Then the final exam that you're sitting would carry the rest for you to get 100. So, if you didn't sit beginning of term, already have 15 gone. If you missed midterm, you have 15 gone. So, and if I did very well beginning of term, I have my 10.
Yes.
Midterm, I have my 10. I already have 20%.
It's like at university where you have courseworks, and for every coursework there is a certain grade. Like courseworks are usually out of 30, so you know that in coursework 1 I got 15, coursework 2 I got maybe 18 or 10, and then the final exam is out of 50. And when you put all that together, you have a good grade.
So our one, the unhealthy competition, where success is seen on first grades and grades, coupled with our nature of exams.
But also,
you know,
Chirabo, when you mentioned the nature of exams, when you look at this particular examination malpractice, it also goes back to the examiners themselves. When you look at some of the top schools, some of the parents tend to take their students to these top schools simply because most of the teachers there are examiners.
Yes.
Now, that element of having a teacher who is an examiner, the parents themselves know that if your teacher or if your child's teacher is an examiner, the chances are very high that your child is going to pass. Now, it goes back to our education system as of now, or our education setting. So once a school has an examiner, believe it or not, that particular examiner is going to come away from the examination center where they've been setting these exams to come and share with the students he's teaching. There are actually some who are actually paid by most of the teachers during facilitation week in third term, where most of these examiners from UNEB, who are teachers from different schools or the so-called big schools, are paid good sums of money that may total up to maybe 1 to 2 million Ugandan shillings for 2 hours of extensive facilitation in other schools to come prepare the students on which questions are expected to come. And then it is quite fortunate that in most scenarios, these examiners tend to come into these schools and pretend like they're only predicting what is coming. But then it's actually a matter of fact that the exact prediction is the same thing that comes in the papers. So the malpractice is actually being highly supported in a professional manner by some of these private schools who seem to look at it in a way that it is kind of facilitation, and it's it gives you that, you know, prestige if you're a school owner to have examiners coming in as facilitators for your students. But of course, like you've mentioned, when you look at the competition, this is where again the malpractice raises from, that after an examiner comes to your school to give the tip, he will definitely rush to his former or to his current school and then also give them
the tip.
It may either be similar or different basing on what he expects is coming in from the examination. So I don't know if there is a way UNEP can also look into who are setting the exams. Of course, you can't say the examiners should be different because they are supposed to be active teachers.
I think that
who follow the
that
curriculum.
UNEP for the last, I think, 5 years, they changed a method where now it's more like a raffle.
Okay. Of who
You
is
can no,
supposed
They
yeah,
set
you can no
different
longer
papers.
they set, and you don't set a full paper.
Yes.
But you know, it has actually been
Now
like
they
that for
can
a while.
yeah, but about 5 or 4 years they said now you only set, I think, five questions, then they come up with a paper, then the ED and someone in ranking of UNEP
Picks which
they do
paper.
a raffle.
Oh, okay.
And they pick the
So no
final
one
paper.
sets an entire paper.
True.
But you see, still even with that, the biggest problem is we must devise another way of assessment, which is not just saying after 4 years, after 7 years, after another 2 years, you're going to sit a general paper.
Well,
Look at the lower secondary curriculum.
I was coming to that, government has made strides in that when it comes to lower secondary school, where now, starting next year, starting next year, candidates will not be assessed only on the outcome of the last exam they sit.
Yes.
They are going to consider their grades from senior 1 to senior 4.
To see their progress.
Exactly. So now when a candidate is transferring, even if they're transferring from one school to another, whether in senior 2 or senior 3, that school is supposed to also transfer their grades
To the other school.
to the other school.
I think I've seen private universities doing that currently in Uganda, where you can easily now transfer from a given university to another. They look at how you've been performing, then they cut off some of the course units, and then they add some, and then you will not be able to repeat the rest. But where you failed, you will have to repeat a given course unit. So I think, as Olive is actually mentioning, you do realize that that will actually be a good assessment
Yes,
kind of
because
situation
then
for
there
us.
you know that it's not this final paper that will determine.
Because anything can happen in the last paper.
Yeah, and we must understand, let's look at how exams are rigged. I'm not an expert in rigging or cheating exams or what.
But yes, let's
But at
look at
least I've
the
done
different ways
research
through,
and now, one,
which malpractice is carried out.
there is what we call assistance in the room, like the head, I think for this particular story, is it in March, India, where you find that the invigilator, while the exam is going on,
He's providing the
is
assistance.
providing assistance. Either has papers of answers and is just distributing them. So these students can read and put on paper. That is one way. We have where a paper leaks.
But who leaks this
No,
paper?
exactly. No,
because when I was having a conversation with Miss Jennifer Kaulid the other week, she said that even you yourself, when we had this conversation, you said that UNEB has actually made strides in the security and safety of these exam papers, and that the way they are sealed is even different. And before that parcel is opened, they are going to show it to students, which they have always done, and turn it upside down to prove that it is sealed, and then it is opened, and then papers are given to the students. It is also the same reason why, if you come to UNEB, suggests that every student should be in the exam, in the designated exam area 30 minutes before the paper begins. It's that it's for that very reason that students are sometimes deterred from entering the exam if they are 30 minutes late. Okay, so when you say the paper is leaked,
you see,
who is leaking this paper?
See, Monica,
where is it being leaked from?
It actually takes me back to the other element I did mention about teachers being examiners. When you look at some of the stories relating to leaking of exams, you do realize that these papers either leak a night before, and some of them leak a night before, whereby teachers tend to share them on their platforms, according to some of the reports. But also, for someone who's actually engaged with some of the students and fellows back in the time, they would actually tell you from some of the other traditional schools during our time of seating, they would tell you it is quite early in the morning, as we have 1 hour's time, because examination time is 9 o'clock. That is the stipulated time by UNEB, but the students are supposed to be in by 8:30. Now at 8 in the morning, there are certain students who will actually, back in our time, who would come to you and tell you during vacation that it was at 8 in the morning that our teacher called us and we gathered in a classroom very early in the morning, and he had the same question paper, and he was actually taking us through how to answer it and how to get through it. So when you ask them, how did this happen? And a student either tells you it is either the paper came in very early at 6 in the morning, or the teacher got to receive information as early as 7 a.m. And sadly now that we have even social media, the bigger question now is how these papers get to leak on WhatsApp status, rather on in WhatsApp groups of these teachers, is a very huge questionable kind of thing. And that is why I was actually mentioning that when you look at the examiners, being the exact teachers, in most cases, even when maybe UNEB is throwing in this, doing these raffles, I'm not actually trying to point a picture that maybe the raffles are not it, or at times they are not, you know, well executed and everything. But I feel there is something lacking in there.
Now let me
before you give us the point of information, I would like to invite you, our dear viewer, to join this conversation. And today we are speaking matters national exams. As we know, senior 4 candidates are sitting their Uganda Certificate of Education examinations, and cases of malpractice have been noted so far. We have had the examinations for 1 week, and a few head teachers and invigilators have been arrested because they were, you know, carrying on malpractice in different schools. So we are asking you to share your views on how best the government can curb malpractice during the ongoing national exams. You can share your views through WhatsApp number 0709 602 592. That is 0709 602 592. And you can also share your views on the X app. The hashtag is UBCGMU. And again, we are asking you to share your views on how best the government can curb malpractice during the ongoing national exams. Chiravo, you had a point
now, on
of
linking, like
information.
I told you, exams are cheated in these ways. There is assistance within the room.
True.
Where the school headmaster, the owner of the school, these invigilators they send.
Okay.
How much are they getting per day? A man who has built a school, a legacy of success, just tell them by the end of the day, each of you is going with 1 M. All I want, invite them to their office, all I want is let my teachers assist my students. And that is done. Now, the other way, leaking of a paper, remember, no single examiner knows the paper that is coming because it's selected in a raffle method. But these papers go to the printer. UNEB will tell you, we lock these people in, we do this, but these people have access to the paper they are printing. Now, there is something that UNEB must check.
Actually, I have a view here from Mokisa David from Toro. He says, good morning, UBC. Exam malpractice, especially leakages, are promoted by UNEB staff during, you know, I think field visits and exam management. And he says this cannot stop because Uganda as a society is rotten morally right from homes.
Then the other area, away from these people that are handling this paper, after it's being made, having access to it. You know, they'll tell you examiners go there, they don't have their phones, they can't communicate with family, but human nature is very crafty. Second is what Sonko has talked about. You know, these papers leave your name, they're in transit, they reach the police station where they are kept, then early morning they are transferred. Now, there are incidents where sometimes, and this is where one of the suspects was arrested, because the packaging was tampered with. But there could be smart incidents or well-organized incidents where even if this is tampered with, it is all about being able to know who are the people that are going to handle this particular set of exam. That is why an hour two, it is very easy for a person to have a copy of this paper if it is a syndicate and a racket. Because this is so common, where a few hours to, the paper is out and the students are briefed on what is going to be coming. Now, that shows from UNEB, the journey was safe. But from the center where these papers spent the night to come to the examination
maybe
center.
for schools in hard-to-reach areas, but even there, the exams do not spend the night at school. Usually, UNEB has a safe place in the district or some
Most times
county,
now police stations.
exactly, where the examination papers are delivered, and then head teachers pick those exams in the morning to take to the centers.
Yes,
so
that is
no
how it is.
school has examinations a night before.
That's why
No,
I
he's-
said
no,
an
the
hour
meeting.
to that tampering. An
When
hour
the
to-
exams have left
Yes, they have
the,
left
the
UNEB, they have
safety
left
of
the
police.
protection center, police. Now they're in transit, and that
That's
is where
where
a number of people have been
tamper-
arrested because someone thinks he will stop somewhere, pick, photocopy, or take a snap, send the exam, then reseal.
But now that we have seen how exams are leaked and how malpractice takes place, we need to know why there is malpractice that keeps on going on. But I would like for us to note that according to UNEB, the number of examination results being withheld due to suspected malpractice decreased by to 1,035 compared to 1,292 in 2020 and 1,825 in 2019. This was these statistics I'm reading were given early this year as UNEB was releasing the examination results for 2022. So it means we are moving in a good direction, but still 1,035 is still high. These are basically 1,035 results being withheld, 1,035 candidates.
And
that
even when
have
you
to
talk about
repeat
that withholding,
that class.
for me, I sometimes I question that. Why? They would look at, in the marking pattern, when they look at these particular papers, they'll see there's a similarity. But I want to tell you, those that could be the unfortunate that get nabbed, or those that may not do a smart job in the way they have been rigging their exams. But the problem could be much higher. And we don't know this year if they have intensified and tightened more nuts, if you are going to have more of this or less of that. But as long as we still have this competition where success in education is seen on grading,
But you see,
and
Chirabo,
our examination partner, our examination style is still this, that this is the moment where you make it or lose it. It is a do or die.
I think the problem is really not grades, actually. But I'll bring this in the form of a question. Because when you look at Ivy League schools around the world, when you look at Oxford, Cambridge, Stanford, Brown, and many more, grades are actually very important. You must have a certain kind of grade to be able to access or to be admitted into these
Very
prestigious institutions. So grades are not really the problem. Maybe the problem is the privatization of the education sector. You think about it. Because now schools are in the business of making money and profits. How do you make money and profits
And
in the
you see,
education sector?
again, it is the grades that are
It
going
has to be the grades.
Yes.
So you have to do everything humanly possible
to make sure
to
that
get
you
the grades.
So I think that the grading is more of a marketing technique for the privatized
Exactly.
schools, simply because any parent out there is going to be looking at, okay, there are parents who love the traditional schools, and that is not going to change, whereby most of them are looking at schools like the Bordeaux, SMAC, name all those schools that are out there. They're also in a league of their own. They may not be as many as 20 schools in the country here, but they are always the same schools where most parents flood after PLE, after UCE, all the time. And even at university, if you're coming from a given school, there is a kind of prestige, or there is a huge standout point you have to get into a given university if you're coming in from such schools. But when you look at the issue of privatization, the issue now is most of the new schools that we have are trying to compete with the traditional schools. And for you to ideally tap into the various parents and also show them that you're a serious school, you have to make sure that you're competing favorably for the better grades as well. And we've seen a rise of huge private schools lately that have actually made it amongst the top 10 performing schools in the last 10
and
years.
also please note that 100% of kindergartens are privately owned, 27% of primary schools are privately owned, and more than 60%, I think around 75% of secondary schools are privately owned. So the industry, the sector has been hugely privatized, so it's going to be hard for you to say the grade system has to go, because it's how they make it.
So for me, in my opinion,
at least all their students
is privatization, but here it is commercialization or over-commercialization of education.
When you
because privatize is you're selling what was government.
Exactly, when you
commercialization of education. But
when you
policy,
privatize something, if I buy it, now I have to commercialize it so that I realize profits.
Because now most of these schools were not government.
And any
privatization may be government is selling off what
when
was
I mean
theirs.
the education sector, as in you've put it mainly in the hands of private.
You've commercialized
exactly.
and liberalized
and
education.
there they have to do, it is a free market economy when it comes to school fees and how they're going to run their exams.
So they have to,
that
that is why most of them don't even follow the curriculum. They
Ministry of Education and Sport
quite earlier, or even close schools earlier.
No, it is because
so
it's this is my opinion. There's so much, we've slept on job for a long time. Our policy has to be revised in some of these areas. Let me just give you a simple example of the medical fraternity. How many times have you seen, I mean doctors, professionals, not these Mutula Kungo, not these say Njobe, not this, but I mean medical professionals advertise themselves?
It's legally, there is a policy that doesn't allow the medical fraternity to advertise.
We are doctors, clinics, Seguku, we have this, we have that, our bills. Why don't we see that?
So you're saying
but lately pharmacies
that the education
at times there's some pharmacies that advertise.
And it is illegal.
Yeah.
No, what pharmacies are doing lately,
things,
they will be selling products like cosmetics. So they will advertise the cosmetics. But of course, you know it
so
is
it's an
a pharmacy.
advertising technique. True.
So why don't we come up with a policy that we can have this competition fine?
Yes.
But where we have reached, where results come back, and we have best. We would have a best doctor.
Haven't we always had a best?
We have
the best in the country.
Best performing school.
Even when
they are the front pages of newspapers every
best
time.
Performing school in Wachiso. Best performing school in this. And some of these reports are lies.
Are lies.
I've been in the media.
Some schools actually pay to have that out.
And there is a station I don't want to attack. That's okay,
when you use that.
There is a way, yet someone simply paid this journalist who is ethically corrupted and not worth their salt to say a school is not even number whatever in the district.
So it is a marketing
but the
gimmick.
media, you bring a story showing it. We need to, how do we regulate that?
Okay.
Because some of the problems we are having today are self-created because we don't have a serious policy.
You know, it goes back to the issue of the privatization, Robert.
Yes,
the entire thing is completely rotating around the business now.
Because you, as the government, there is no school in this country that works without a license from Ministry of Education.
So tell us what you are suggesting should be included in the new policy.
We should tighten certain areas in our education policy in terms of advertising.
Okay.
Like we've always told government that you can't have these beer adverts or people looking so good, so happy, enticing the young to want to feel that good life. If you want to fight, drink and what, the adverts should be regulated.
To drink responsibly. That is why
the adverts should be regulated. What can you advertise?
Okay.
You know. Second, if you've had your exams, you've performed, these rating unqualified, we must first look at that. Two, we must have continuous assessment. And it's not just that this final paper, either I have sickle cells, I feel I'm dying, I must go. We must have, if there are justified reasons, we must have a paper in case of those that did what? Because there are death issues now here. But if we don't change our style of examination, and it's a do or die and once or never. Because what is happening today?
Yes,
Either if you miss
one exam,
I remember
That's
these
a
young
whole
boys
year.
that had Bebe
Exactly.
Cool's son that went and played for us under something.
and then he didn't.
And he
they
missed.
missed an exam.
Yeah, and there was no remedial
And
for
there
him.
was no. You get that?
So
But-
we are too
and now schools know
rigid
that
when it comes
it is
to
here where we hit it
examinations.
or never. If I own a school, I have taken a loan from the bank to construct a school. Let's be Ugandans, let's be practical. You own a school, Sonko, you own a school. Most of these schools operate on loans.
Very true.
Now, you know it is only PLE that is going to give you a win.
And more parents come in to pay.
And more parents
True.
come in. And even you hike your school fees. You would do whatever it takes.
to perform highly.
You would pay the teachers, you would get the SAID examiners, you would pay off the invigilators.
to increase the numbers.
Because it is a once or never. But if you know it is continuous assessment, that even this final, actually these final exams should be contributing 30.
Because
30.
how do you study
You get
for
it.
4 years and one exam?
Of
Because
1
some-
hour and 30 minutes,
some
so 2
people,
hours.
there is a science to it.
15.
Some people don't do well in examinations, not because they are daft, but because maybe they are nervous and whatnot. So this final
Now let me
exam,
remind you, we have very bright children
who fail at
that on the
end.
final exam,
Yes.
either they are so nervous
It's like
or something,
it's
and
like
the
job
child, you knew
interviews.
that we are very sure this one is bringing
because
up
it is a do or die. Like,
what happened?
You know,
It is
because
like
it is
job
a do or die.
interviews. Someone will be extremely brilliant, they can deliver, but they fail their interview. Anyway, we have views coming through from those watching. Today we are speaking matters malpractice because the national exams are ongoing, and already head teachers from different districts have been arrested due to malpractice, and of course some of these that have been arrested are also invigilators that are supposed to actually ensure that there is no malpractice in any school, but now they are contributing to the vice. Now this one is Florence from Bale, and she says, good morning. I think it is important to thoroughly brief the students prior to the examination. Also, the standards of the teachers should be checked because some of them are not qualified. Invigilators should stop scaring students before and during the examinations. And this one says it is all about the moral decay at home, community and schools. The system of examinations is not the problem, but people who have been brought up thinking they have to be helped to succeed. And this one is Daniel from Kumi. He says the problem is that Uganda is ruled by money, provided money is included. Cheating, cheating or malpractice is like taking water, and it is done by the so-called examiners. Examiners are taking the bullets this morning. And this one says, good morning. After giving out the papers, there is a balance of papers for correction. Teachers use this balance to answer, and distribution is done to rooms. And this is Mr. Tugume from Ginger. I'm not sure I understand that, but if you have, you will
I
explain.
can understand it.
And this one says, good morning,
love the
Olive
testimonies coming
and
in.
Robert. I suggest tough punishment on offenders like imprisonment and deregistering them from the education system. This is Joseph from Ginger. And Apollo Bainomugisha Faida from Ibanda district says, good morning, Uganda. The teaching staff are so much involved in exam malpractice in the country. And this is Anthony from Hoima. He says, about the malpractice vice, I think like Mr. Chirabo has just given his submission, it is very hard to do away with. He even added it like he's really sad with crying emojis. And he said, we no longer live with integrity, and this is mostly happening in private schools. And this vice is mostly promoted by invigilators who are the overall coordinators of the processes of physical writing of papers. These people accept bribes and allow schools to do the copy coping, hence producing half-baked students. That's why you find a number of students who joined campus with good grades actually struggling with retakes day and night just because they were not baked fully in their lower and higher secondary. I like this submission. I remember when I was in primary school, there was a school in Masaka known for having 80 students all got 4s, and these students were being rejected by schools like St. Henry's College, Chitovu, Masaka Secondary School, Kako, because apparently they would give them like an exam upon, you know, entry, and they would fail. And some of them, when they would be admitted first term or the second term, they are struggling. So at some point, these schools had decided not to take pupils from this particular primary school, and I know you know that school.
And you know what is interesting?
But anyway, we are out of time.
They would be shocked at the end of the year. The axe would get them.
Exactly.
Because they would fail to raise the average. Yet they came with 4, 5, and you would look at them and you're, hey, at the end of the,
so
he's chopped completely.
We are out of time, but this is a conversation that can continue. It can go on. Please continue bringing in your views, because exam malpractice does not really help us. When you go to the job market, you realize that we have so many students that have been churned out from universities, because malpractice also happens at university. If a child has been exposed to malpractice in P7, in senior 4, in senior 6, there is no way they are going to do research on their own at university and pass. That's why people are still paying for other people to do research for them. Yet this research paper is supposed to help you integrate what you've learned into practical, into a practical way, so that you can now transplant this information you've gotten at university into work. But you realize that people get into places of work and they have to be retrained because they don't have any understanding of what they studied for 3 to 4 years at university. So it goes back to all of us back at home. Are you enabling this vice? Back in primary school, are you a head teacher? You're enabling this vice. We all have a collective responsibility when it comes to exam malpractice. And also, why are we having malpractice cases? It is poor preparation for the examinations. You had 4 years to prepare, and at the very last minute, you're now fidgeting. You're trying to, you know, cheat in the exam so that you get good grades. Let's go back to where we started. We are supposed to start from. Teach well, let the students be responsible, prepare in time, and at the end of the day, we will let everything to go, leave everything to God. If you're to pass, you'll pass. If you're to fail, you will fail. And the parents have to stop telling children, if you don't get 8 in 8, you're no longer my child, because all of these lead to the vice. But anyway, exactly. This is Good Morning Uganda. Very insightful conversation, but we'll end it here. We will be right back.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda.
Pick of the day on UBC. Was brought to you by
MTN Momo Pay is the easy way to pay. Dial star 165 star 3 hash or use the MTN Momo app. You don't need cash. MTN Momo Pay is safe and free.
So this is my general perception. One, that this project entered in strategic areas of government, but that it has created a base for the now last mile strategy, which is the parish development model. And therefore this base that it has left will help us actually, and I'm sure we'll get better results in Achore area and Ajumani when we are implementing the parish development model.
So, you are ready to invest in Airtel's initial public offering? Good choice. I'm going to show you how to do it straight from your phone. First, you're going to want to make sure you have a Securities Central Depository SCD account. Dial *185*85# from your Airtel number. Choose Airtel IPO purchase from the available options. Enter your valid national identification number when prompted. Before you purchase, there are a few things you need to know. The minimum purchase is 2,500 shares. The share price is 100 Uganda shillings. Select the number of shares you wish to purchase. Choose your relevant broker for the purchase. Enter your Airtel Money PIN to confirm the transaction. Congratulations! You receive a confirmation message of your successful purchase.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda.
And welcome along to the GMU Business Update this morning. I'm Joram Paul Sonko. There's a lot coming in from the business world, and that is why I'm definitely here this morning to make sure that you are keeping up to speed with the same information. Now, the mobile money loans have reached a monthly lending of 31 billion Ugandan shillings. It does seem like mobile money loans are a thing this very year. Not only that, there are as well other related money lending apps that are making rounds across the country, but mobile money loans are definitely hitting a new high. Now, mobile money subscribers borrowed 31.44 billion in August alone. I don't know if you are amongst those mobile money borrowers. That is some of the other loans available, mobile money, quick loans, wewole, all that related as well. This is according to data from the Ministry of Finance. The money is assessed through short-term microloans, which carry a monthly interest of between 8% and 12%, and a recovery of at least 30 days if you are to clear this particular loan. So I think to all of you who have actually been getting these mobile money loans from telecommunications companies such as Airtel, MTN, and a few others, this is actually the first time that the Ministry of Finance is capturing mobile money loans under private sector credit, which signals the increasing importance of digital microloans to the credit ecosystem. Besides that, efforts to get previous contributions of mobile money loans to private sector credit were futile by press time. However, the performance of mobile money loans to the private sector credit were futile by press time of this particular report. And the performance of the economy is also partly a reason as to why most of the Ugandans are as well looking up to mobile money for various issues, or the reason as to why banks as well do not provide these particular loans as urgent as one may need them, because I've actually come to realize there are some Ugandans who have a loan limit with their mobile money of up to 1 million Ugandan shillings, simply because they always use mobile money as a means of transaction to pay for various services, purchase goods, and of course this is one of the reasons as to why your loan limit at times becomes a huge one, or it actually grows every time you clear your loans or every time you use mobile money. And this is the same reason as to why they are actually growing, according to details or data from the Ministry of Finance, which is revealing that the mobile money loans have actually grown to 31 billion, or have actually increased to 31 billion shillings, according to figures that revealed Ugandans borrowed up to that amount of money in the month of August. Well, as we speak, matters business as well. Now let's look at the government-owned entities in the country, because it does seem like the government-owned enterprises have posted 151 billion shillings of profit, according to information as well. Now, this is analysis done by the Auditor General's Office on profitability of 18 public corporations and state enterprises, which discovered that up to 10 entities made profits or registered surpluses in the year under review. When you look at this particular one, top of the list of the public profit-making entities was the Uganda Electricity Transmission Company Limited, UETCL, which is topping this particular list, which posted a profit of 37.7 billion Ugandan shillings. Besides that, it was actually followed by the Uganda Electricity Generation Company, the UEGCL. So when you look at the energy sector, is actually producing a lot for the country. In terms of the government-owned entities or corporations, the Uganda electricity side is producing amicably well. And of course, the Uganda Electricity Generation Company had a profit of 27.9 shillings. That was actually registered billion, that is in billion. Then number 3 was the National Enterprise Corporation, NEC Luero Industries, which posted a profit of 7.9 billion Ugandan shillings. Now that's huge, trust me, as well. And it was also discovered, by the way, in the same report, that the Mandela National Stadium registered a surplus of 78.8 billion from 1 billion posted in the previous year. That is according to the end of the financial year, which ended June 2022. So the year under review here is 2021-2022 financial year. And of course, we all know at such times that now the Nelson Mandela National Stadium is under rehabilitation, because they're actually fitting in new seats to ensure that it is up to standard as we prepare for the African Cup of Nations come 2027. That is for the Pamoja bid, by the way. So you would actually try to look at it in a situation that, well, it is times like that when the country is actually switching on a good note, and when government entities are actually gaining momentum or hitting profits, you will definitely love it for the country. But well, besides that, now our main focus turns to the forex market. We'll look at how the market was faring as close of business yesterday. The US dollar is what we definitely start off, did close at 3,746.83. That is according to details coming in from the Bank of Uganda. And if you're selling, the US dollar was selling at 3,756.83 shillings. Now the Great Britain pound was buying at 4,553.14 shillings, while selling at 4,565.29 shillings. Now the euro is buying at 3,963.77, while selling at 3,974.35. The Kenyan shilling, on the other hand, was buying at 24.97, while selling at 25.04 shillings. The Tanzanian shilling was buying at 1.49, while selling at 1.50. South African rand at 197.16, while selling at 197.69. This is according to figures that are coming in from details of the Bank of Uganda as well. And as you're heading out to the forex market, that is something that you will definitely want to look at. Well, of course, I've received a message from Ken Chizito, who is actually asking in relation to how the Nelson Mandela managed to make this particular amount of money, or why it is actually in there. Now, in this particular report, Kenneth, of course, when you look at the other situation that is actually coming in, it was just discovered that the Mandela National Stadium had registered a surplus of 78.8 billion. That is from the 1 billion posted in the previous year of account. That is in relation to the support of 80 billion that was received during the year. reads the report of the Auditor General. Now, according to the report of the Auditor General, this particular year under review is the financial year 2021-2022. That is going on to one Chizito Kenneth, who is actually asking about the same matter as well. Now, as we are continuing with this particular hour, we now turn our focus onto the press review again to see which other headlines are out across the East African region, as we first of all revisit the new vision in Uganda to see what is actually being highlighted so far. Now, tycoon building on Lugogo Water Channel halted, businessman fails to avail plans as designed for the works not yet out. Then furthermore, President and Mrs. Museveni meet Burundi First Lady. Read about the same in the New Vision today. Worst districts for mothers have been named in today's New Vision. Speaker among gets twins. That is in the segment of parenthood. Big information there. Now, top profit-making government entities named. I've given you a list of that. You will actually read about more of the same, and then those who have actually also been in losses. Now, besides that, when you look at the Daily Monitor this morning, government is to roll out new injectable HIV drug as inside the Bugembe Cathedral, which is to host Busoga royal wedding. The Busoga Kingdom is warming up for that huge moment of celebration this year. Now, among Magogo get twin sons as RDC to mediate in Kabale LC5 mayor fight. Now, also College Wairaka structures in ruins. Read about the same in there. Now, there's also a pictorial from FDC, the FDC camp, Beseje allies to start nationwide mobilization rather. So you can read about the same. Now, let's cross the border to Kenya. The Daily Nation. Why CJ wants life sentence scrapped. The Chief Justice in Kenya has new guidelines she wants put in place. Now, the Kenyan shilling exchanges at 150 to the US dollar. Information from Kenya as well. Now, education lobby seeks to halt costly university loans on funding plan. As in football, Man United desperate for win as Champions League come calling in Europe. Champions League football returns this evening, by the way. Now, lastly, in our press review, the Citizen newspaper in Tanzania is highlighting why Tanzania leads East Africa in trade deals acquisitions. And then Samia Suluhu Hassan says use stake in trade dispute resolution as reasons behind DP World deal being under the wraps. So, of course, you can definitely grab yourself a copy of all those if at all you want to read information relating to the same that I've actually revealed to you this morning. Though now, it is time for the traffic updates with Olive Monica Najuma.
Thank you so much, Sonko. Yes, it is time for traffic updates. And like we usually do, we traverse different parts of our country and see how best you can get to the heart of town, or how best you can get to your final destination this morning. You may not be coming to the heart of town, but still you need to know what's happening on the road in your area so that you can negotiate and plan your routes favorably. Now, this morning, we have gone to the areas of Nakauka. We will be looking at areas of Masaka Road and a little bit of Mitiana Road as you come to the Central Business District. Now, around Nakauka, right before the intersection that connects Mitiana and Masaka Road, there is traffic that has built up there. As you can see on your screen, I see a red zone over there, which is indicative of a traffic jam that is coming to the side of Wakaliga. Now, for those coming from Mitiana Road, I see still a huge orange zone that is on that side, meaning that traffic is starting to build up from Mitiana Road right to the intersection that joins Masaka Road. That intersection you're looking at right in the middle of your screen is the one that joins Mitiana Road and Masaka Road. Now, for those coming in from Masaka Road, actually there is no traffic jam coming from that side of town. So if you're coming from there, you will only encounter a little bit of traffic jam at this intersection. But now moving along to Wakaliga Road, the orange zone continues, meaning that there is slow movement of vehicles on the road because traffic jam it has built up a little bit in this area. But as we continue still on Wakalika Road, you will realize that there are sections where there are orange zones indicative of slow movement of traffic, but then there are green zones as well which are indicative of smooth flow of traffic, meaning you want, wherever you see those green lines, you're not going to be held up anywhere. You should be able to move in record time. Now moving along still Wakaliga Road, most of it looks pretty good. There is a smooth flow of traffic up until that intersection that joins Makamba Road and of course Wakaliga Road and Albert Cook Road. Now in this area there is traffic that is coming through from Wakaliga Road and also traffic that is coming through from Makamba Road joining that intersection, and then of course going through Albert Cook Road. Now on Albert Cook Road you will realize that both sides of the road have orange zones, which indicates that people coming from Masaka Road or people going the areas of Masaka Road are a bit held up in this traffic at this intersection. But now looking at those going to the areas of maybe Kabusu, Ndeba, there is an orange zone over there, which means that traffic movement this morning around that section is quite slow. Now even when we look at feeder roads like Kalema Road that join Albert Cook Road, there is still traffic that is coming through feeding into Albert Cook Road, and a little bit of a red zone over there that might delay you for a few minutes. Now looking at Mutesa Road, which is another feeder road that joins Albert Cook Road, that one is very clear. It shows a smooth flow of traffic over there, so if you're coming from there you will only meet that traffic at that T junction. Now still moving ahead on Albert Cook Road, I see a huge orange zone over there, which means that there is slow movement of traffic, and of course there is traffic that is feeding into Albert Cook Road coming from Hamukasa Road. And of course if I'm to look at the surrounding areas like Apollo Chivebulaya Road, there is traffic, a huge red zone over there that is feeding into Hamukasa Road, and when you cross over that intersection to Canon Apollo Chivebulaya, still there is traffic coming in from Blange Way Road, and of course traffic continues on Apollo Chivebulaya Road, still feeding up ahead into Albert Cook Road. Now still moving along, looking at areas like Kasalina Road, there is a deep red zone over there indicative of huge traffic that has built up right before you reach Mengo Hospital. So if you're using that route, you're going to be held up a bit. And of course there is a huge red zone that is coming through from Zake Road. It is quite intense this morning. I think some people were using it as an alternative route to join Albert Cook Road, but unfortunately for them there is huge traffic over there, traffic that can cost you even 30 minutes before you join the main road. Now going back to Albert Cook Road, there is still a huge orange zone over there that goes on and on until that Y junction at Chadondo Road that has huge traffic coming through. If you're looking at your screen, there is traffic coming through from Willis Road joining Chadondo Road, and of course there is still a huge orange zone on Albert Cook Road as you go along, which turns into a red zone, meaning that you're going to be held up in this section of the road. Now joining when we look at Bakuli, Hoima, where Hoima Road joins Namirembe Road, there is huge traffic there. There is actually huge traffic coming through from Hoima Road. As you can see there, it is an intense red zone over there that goes on for some time, and then it feeds into Namirembe Road, and of course as you can see, Fort Road also has huge traffic over there up until you reach reach Old Kampala. Now around Old Kampala there is an orange zone, which means that yes, traffic is moving but slow, so if that's where you're going you should take note. The whole of Old Kampala looks orange, meaning you can't be really fast, and even Gaddafi Road over there is bringing in huge traffic. There is a huge red line over there that feeds into that roundabout at Rashid Khamis Road and Gaddafi Road, so all sections of that side look to be, you know, having slow movement of traffic. And then there is huge huge traffic, intense traffic along Gaddafi Road. And of course, if you're coming from Pabana Road, that road is free, but then if you're feeding into Gaddafi Road, you're going to find intense traffic over there. Well, that's about it on the traffic updates this morning. My name is Olive Monica Nejama. We'll catch you again later, but coming up next is the agenda, and later on we will have the sports updates by Ruben Mpima.
Pick of the day on UBC. Was brought to you by
MTN Momo Pay is the easy way to pay. Dial star 165 star 3 hash or use the MTN Momo app. You don't need cash. MTN Momo Pay is safe and free.
I'm very appreciative to the government of Uganda for the support it has given this school. First of all, it is paying 16 government teachers, and it's bringing in UPE funds that has partly helped the school. Formerly, the school was not like as it is now. We have put some good face. We have planted trees around the compound. We even have a banana plantation, very, very good looking. We have 16 government teachers and 10 private teachers. Those private teachers are paid by the government.
I was here 1991, 1997. It became a model school 95. That's when it was changed from Kazo Primary School to Kazo Model School. I am a beneficiary of UPE. Government paid for me in 1997 when I was here as a student of this school.
Junko.
Yo.
What you go? Check the shopping, man. What's your secret?
Uganda, haven't you heard of the parish development model PDM?
Yes, I did, but I thought it was just a talk.
No, it is real. I and a few friends together formed a circle, accessed money from the PDM, invested in a portrait project, and now things are moving.
Junko. I thought I was one of your friends.
You are.
But you left me behind.
I didn't leave you in poverty. What you do, just visit your LC2 chairperson and your parish chief and start the process of economic transformation. Just like that. The parish development model is an initiative from the government of Uganda through the Ministry of Local Government designed to transform all lives of Ugandans for the better. PDM, my parish, my development, my life.
This week on UBC.
A new dawn on Behind the Headlines with me, Timothy Nyangweso. Every Wednesday, live in our studios in the heart of Kampala. We have conversations that have analysis, explanation, but not every truth is fact, and not every fact is truth. Every Wednesday, 10 p.m. on your public broadcaster.
All on your public broadcaster, UBC, inspiring Uganda. Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Eight minutes past the hour of 8. Thank you so much for being with us this bright Tuesday morning. I'm Robert Cherubonyo, in case you have just joined, and this is Good Morning Uganda agenda, which is part of Good Morning Uganda. Now, this is our morning show that starts all the way from 6:30, so make it a date with us. And we have a number of segments that are very interesting. Now, in this particular segment, we usually have a guest and discuss issues of national concern. Now, this morning, we want to look at safety of our tourists in our game reserves and national parks. And joining me is Bashir Hank, who happens to be the head of communications and the public relations officer, Uganda Wildlife Authority. You're most welcome.
Thank you so much, and thanks for inviting me.
Okay. Now, we'll take things first. Now, Bashir, we had a very unfortunate incident, I must say, that involved two tourists and a tour guide. The vehicle was burnt, their lives were lost. It is said that these are suspected ADF rebels. Now, to begin with, when such an incident occurred, what is its impact or likely impact on the tourism sector, of which you ensure that when it comes to protection of wildlife, which many come to see, and of course game parks are all under your custody?
Thank you very much. First of all, we send our sincere condolences to the families that lost their loved ones. We had the British, we had the South African and the Ugandan. Our hearts and thoughts are with them. We know they are going through hard times, especially the foreigners. Actually, they haven't even received the bodies of their loved ones. Our very own was buried, you remember? But I can assure you, life is not the same when it comes to these families. So our sincere condolences. And to the entire tourism fraternity. You know, tour companies go out there and look for people to come and visit Uganda. And certainly the best moment is when this person comes, go through the tourism activities as planned, and they go back home safely to tell what they saw. Now, once that doesn't happen, then it turns into something completely different. What happened is something that is not what we are known for as a country. We know that over the years, we've had a very good, if not excellent record of visitor safety as a country. People who come to Uganda, they go around, they tour places, they go to these wildlife reserves, they go to the national parks, do game viewing, do nature walks, do camping, do experiential tourism activities. They do boat cruises on our water bodies and go back home and they tell the story. And that's how we get many others coming. So that's what we are known for. They come and go back home when they are safe. Over the years, Let me give you an example of people who come to Uganda as protected areas. Before COVID, we had reached a figure of around 330,000 people coming to protected areas. Last year, we surpassed pre-COVID numbers. We hit a mark of 360 plus thousand visitors to our protected areas. What does this mean? It means that over the years, millions of visitors have visited Uganda's protected areas and gone back home when they are safe. Nothing has happened to them. And that's why the numbers keep increasing, because when they go back, they give positive commentary about destination Uganda. So what happened in Kasese? That's why we are calling it an isolated incident. It does not define who we are as a country in terms of visitor safety. We know of many countries where you fear to walk on the street because you feel someone, maybe you're not sure whether someone won't stab you on the street. We know of many countries that have gun violence in schools, in health facilities, in recreation facilities, mention it. So, but Uganda, we are not known for any of that. This is a very unfortunate incident, and it is regrettable. What is its impact on us as a tourism sector or industry for that matter? The impact is definitely negative. When you are somewhere in the UK or Canada or US and you see the pictures that people were putting on their social media platforms, you definitely get scared.
True.
And I must tell you this, that we Ugandans and our Ugandan media houses, we've done an excellent job. Let me put it this way, some Ugandans and some of our media houses have done an excellent job in portraying Uganda as a very bad destination. Because it's an era of citizen journalism. It's understandable. People have smartphones all over, and the person who took these images is not a journalist, as a matter of fact. We all know that. The person who was using the road. And this person took pictures, shared. You know, it is a simple principle that when you have a piece of information, whether it's an image or video or text, you have control over how you should disseminate it, over how you should circulate it. But you absolutely have no control over how far it will go.
Very true.
It's a simple communication principle. You have absolutely no control over how far this message will go. So whoever, the first person to share this image didn't know how far these images would go. And they found themselves onto international media channels, showing that Uganda is burning. People are being burnt. People are being shot. You know, it was very unfortunate. And therefore, it had a negative impact on us. So we have to do a lot of damage repair. And we as people in the industry, we are a little bit concerned that the media, our mainstream media, allowed the pedestrian journalists or the citizen journalists to set the agenda for them. Because ideally, you have, it's understandable. I mean, when you come across a piece of information as a media house, you want to break the news. You want to scoop to be the first to break the news. So it's understandable, the desire to break the news. But also, it's not good also to break the news in a scaring manner. I strongly believe there are ways of communicating.
So you're
facts.
not against media houses communicating what had happened,
no,
informing the public.
This is what I'm coming to.
But the
manner in which you communicate these facts, that is what disappointed most of us.
Yeah, because professionally, the images that you do not let out anyhow. Whether there's a watermark or you shared those nasty scenes.
Yes. We thought we didn't have to put that out, but we didn't want the media houses to hide anything, because these are things that have happened. I'm a strong advocate for media freedoms, for information. So we were a little bit disappointed. And as such, the damage that had been caused by our brothers and sisters who were sharing these images on social media was further amplified by our mainstream media houses. So that is where we are now, and we have a lot of damage control to do together now. Not only UWA, not only the Ministry of Tourism, Wildlife and Antiquities, not only UTB. You know, UTB is our lead agency in marketing
tourism.
Destination. Yeah, Uganda Tourism Board. They are the lead agency in marketing destination Uganda. They promote all of us. You know, so we cannot leave this to them alone. We all have to partake in this and ensure that we do PR for destination Uganda, do damage control, portray Uganda as a country that can be visited, give people hope that not all is lost. What happened, happened, but we have put in place measures. So that people, because you know, people are not gullible, they understand. They know that these things happen, even in their countries, these things happen. But you know, life continues. So we need to continuously give a message of hope out there, show people that we are still the other beautiful country that I know, a country that is receptive to people, a country that gives people warm hospitality, a country that has unique tourism attractions, you know, a country that has unique culture, a country that has unique religious tourism activities that people can come and experience, you know, so that people know, oh wow, the Pearl of Africa is still shining.
But all that you've said, yes, is tourism. But most of the tourism we have in our country are people who come to see wildlife.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And a few natural resources. Because we have certain species of animals where we are very lucky that not many countries have them. The bird species we have, almost a third of the world population. So the niche of money in tourism lies in these animals, lies in these protected areas. Now, the question, therefore, much as you talk about reconstructing, rebuilding the image, letting the world know that this was an isolated incident, there still remains concern. We can't just say because it was an isolated incident, therefore, it was a one-off, it can never happen.
Correct.
We can't just say that, okay, we still have very many, the source of the Nile is with us, this and that. We need to create practical confidence with the evidence, therefore, that no, it was an isolated incident, but this is how, these are steps we've put in place to ensure we do not have a reoccurrence of this. And what have you done in that direction?
Correct, correct. First of all, have you been able to place rather to locate where this incident happened? Now, this incident happened on Katwe-Kabatoro Road. This is a road that crosses through the park. But if you look at the instruments that gazette this road, actually the instruments say the road is outside the park. But we all know that this road crosses the park. But that's not the point. The point is, this is a public road we're talking about. A road that is used by everyone. You'll find there pedestrians, you'll find there people on bicycles, you'll find there people on motorcycles, you'll find there people using vehicles, you know. So it is a road that no one can control who uses it. And as such, it is possible that these people who killed our tourists took advantage of a public road. Because I don't want us to assume, like I've had some, I don't want to say not so serious, but for lack of a better word, let me use the word not so serious people, say that, you see, these rangers were sleeping on the job. No, because this incident did not happen inside the park where you have tourism activities happening, where we have tourism roads inside the park, where you find people are doing game viewing, where you find people doing their nature walks, people going for experiential tourism activities, people going for boat cruises, among others. Now, that is an area where people know that there is serious security, not on a public road. And in any case, we don't expect our rangers to be guarding a public road. And how many are you going to put in a public road anyway? So, but we've also picked our lessons. And as such, working closely with the other security agencies, like the police and the UPDF, we've been able to ensure that we beef up security in that area. I know there are patrols now along the road, day and night patrols. We've got additional manpower from the UPDF inside the parks and even outside, you know, the parks. When you enter the park, certainly you will not see them. But I want to assure you that security has been heightened, and we are not leaving anything to chance, because we can't be sure that such an incident will not happen again. Because if it happens again, then the questions will be, you guys, didn't you learn from what happened? So that's why I'm saying we've picked our lessons, and as such we have heightened security. But most importantly, we're also strengthening our collaboration and relationship with the communities. I can assure you, without community support, all these security measures we are putting in place, they cannot work. Community support is going to be the best for our security for our visitors, as it has been over the years. So we know the community members are the ones who give us information where the poachers are. They are the ones who give us information when they know of people who are entering the parks illegally. They are the ones who give us information when they see people they don't understand in their areas, you know. So they are the ones who give us first-hand intelligence information. And our intelligence agencies are equal on the ground. So we are leaving nothing to chance. Today, if you go to Queen Elizabeth National Park, you will find tourism activities going on normally. But I can assure you, security has been strengthened. The park is safer than even before. So we believe that whoever is going to come to visit Queen, they should be sure that their safety will be guaranteed.
Now, what are some of the tips first for these tour agencies? Because we know they're in business.
Absolutely.
They want to make profits. They have made investments. So what is it that, if I run a tour company, or if I'm a domestic tourist, I want to go with my family, what are some of those tips you can give for one's safety? Do you have a toll-free line? You know, what do I need to know in case of anything?
Two things. One, you need to understand that in most cases we start interacting with these tour companies when they reach the park gate. If you are a visitor and they pick you from the airport, in most cases we are not aware until you reach the park gate. And let me tell you how it works. You are a tour company, you come to UWA, you say, I have visitors so and so, they are going to Queen Elizabeth National Park. They will do game viewing, they will do a boat cruise, they will do experiential tourism, they want to do a nature walk, and you pay. So you tell us they will come on such and such date. So for us on that date, we wait for them at the parks. So we don't know when actually they enter Uganda. So you will come, you pick your guests from the airport, transport them through. Maybe they want to first pass around Kampala, go to Namugongo, go to Kampala, go to Kasubi. It's not yet open now, but basically go experience Kampala, maybe nightlife. We may not even know that they are here until that date you gave us that you will bring them to the park. So we start interacting with you and your visitors when you are at the park gates. So it becomes very tricky for us to tell that you have these visitors, you are moving them from the airport, taking them to Queen Elizabeth or Lake Mburo or Kidepo. Bottom line is that safety is not only a matter of government agencies. Safety is a matter of each and every person. If you are a tour operator, you have visitors, and maybe you think you are going to drive in the night, I think it's imperative that you notify police if need be. They give you someone, they give you protection, you know. They can give you someone to take care of you guys if you must move in the night anyway, because sometimes there may be no reason. But also, when they are coming inside the park, you know, we have a policy where you bring your guests, and because we know you are a licensed tour operator, you have a licensed professional tour guide, so you don't need our guide, because your tour guide suffices. We take the visitors through. These guides know these parks more than some of our staff. So in most cases, once you come, you enter, you present evidence of payment, now you start going along your tourism activities. Actually, some of them are not comfortable having our rangers, because they say we don't want guns around our visitors. And as a matter of fact also, some of the visitors don't feel comfortable with guns around them. So they prefer going with the tour company that brought them. They take them through the trucks, they take them through their tour activities, and then they go outside the park. So it is it is a 50-50. Some would feel comfortable with a gun around them. Some don't feel comfortable at all. They say, if the place is safe, why do I need a gun? I mean, and because we know it is safe, they don't need to have guns around them. Look, but for this particular incident, I said this incident happened on a public road, okay? And once people are on a public road, you can't really give them protection on a public road. It becomes tricky, up to where anyway. Because if we give you a ranger on a public road, how far is this ranger going to move with you? Maybe, because these people had done a game drive, they were going back to Mwea. So they were like 5 kilometers away from the park gate on Kabatoro Road. And that's where this unfortunate incident happened. So it is a matter of judgment on the side of the tour operator to weigh the risks involved, but it would be good for them to always have some protection around.
Well, just remind my viewer, you can be part of the topic of discussion by simply using that number on your screen. Send me a WhatsApp message, send me a text message. I will be reading it out for my guest, who happens to be the PRO, Uganda Wildlife Authority, as we look at safety of our tourists in our game parks and game reserves. Now, you mentioned something very important, that you need the community.
Yes.
Now, over a time, when I look at some of the challenges that have happened with the game park, away from even just the tourists, we've had issues of the lions being poisoned, we've had elements of poachers in these, but one of the things that I noticed, I once in a while with my community visit these, we do so much domestic tourism, and you find that the local communities, apart from a few privileged, just seem to be seeing others enjoying what sometimes they can't enjoy. They can't afford to enter the game park. Sometimes, in some areas I've seen when they have permission, I think, to pick firewood. But these communities, if I may call them host communities, don't stand to benefit. And I think this is why sometimes, much as we would say they have been cooperative, they may not be, as Uganda Wildlife Authority or other partner agencies. What are you doing to ensure that these communities don't just say, we can't use that land because it is gazetted, it's a game park, but they see that they benefit, not only people coming from Kampala, not only the Muzungu coming and seeing these animals and going back. Because this healthy relationship is what can enable them, even when pursuing, that they can volunteer information.
Now, there's something I want us to understand here. You know, one of the reasons why it is called a protected area, it means there are restrictions. And these restrictions do not only apply to communities surrounding these protected areas, but to everyone, including myself. I cannot go to a protected area and do what I want because I'm a war staff. No. There are rules that I must follow, even when I'm inside the protected area. Now, if you say that communities think they are being relegated to the periphery, and as such, foreigners and other affluent people are coming to enjoy the beauties inside the parks, I disagree with you. Because we know, for example, let me tell you, do you know how much you need to enter a park like Queen? It's around 25,000. That may be too much for a community member. But look, you cannot leave it open to the community members, because who is a community member in this case now? If you leave it open, for example, do they have IDs that tell this is from village A, B, C, this is the son of so and so? It becomes tricky to regulate entry into the park. That's one. Two, who is a genuine community member and a poacher? If you leave it open, people are coming to hunt our animals and kill them. So that's why there are these restrictions. That said, you talked of them being allowed to get firewood. There is what we call regulated resource access program. Under this arrangement, we work with the communities, we enter MOUs with these communities, and they are allowed on specific days to enter the park and access some of the resources they are in. Certainly, these resources don't include anything to do with fauna. Okay? And you cannot say, well, it's a regulated resource access, so let me go and grab a cob and go with it. That one we don't allow. But communities are allowed on specific days. They come, they enter the park and access resources. That's one. Two, these stakeholders actually, on certain days, they request to enter the parks, and we allow them. So we cannot leave it open that people enter us and when they wish and go out. Then we will have failed to protect the area. The other thing is about the benefits. If there are people who benefit, there are communities who are neighboring our parks. We share with them 20% of the revenue that we collect at the gates. That's why the other day,
20%?
Yeah, 20% of the revenues that we collect. For example, last year, we collected around 7 billion from Queen Elizabeth National Park. Okay? Slightly over 7 billion. Now, 20% of this, now those are figures that are not yet audited. But after they have been audited, 20% will go back to the communities around Queen.
Sure.
So you can, that's it.
20% of 7 billion.
Yeah, it will go back to the communities around the park.
In which manner?
Now, this money, these communities come up with projects.
Okay.
And we declare these monies, we declare how much is going to be disbursed. And this money goes to the districts. From the districts, it goes down to the sub-counties and the parishes. Because this money is meant to help the parishes that neighbor the park. Because these are the frontline communities that are suffering the impacts more than any other. You get it? So this money goes into their community projects. Some of it go into social services such as health facilities, schools, roads in communities. Now, this money goes into these communities. But also we do enterprise development where we support particular projects over and above the money we use for revenue share. People, we see projects and we try to promote them. Remember, we are a government entity. And we're all implementing the National Development Plan 3. And the intention is to ensure that we have socio-economic transformation of the country. And in so doing, you can do so by improving the living conditions of the communities, improving household incomes, you know. So once you improve household incomes, you are fighting poverty. And once you fight poverty, you will have literacy levels high, people are healthy, you know, and people have a source of income. Definitely socio-economic transformation will be achieved. You get it? So we are participating into this as a government entity. Therefore, we are making a bigger contribution in terms of lifting the communities surrounding these protected areas from a low to a high indifference curve. You get it? So we are working with the communities, and that's why I've said that over the years, we have had a record of safety of our people, of our animals, because the communities support our work. But you mentioned of things like lions being poisoned. Yeah.
Electrocuted, someone
exactly.
Puts an electric fence.
Yes.
Just within.
And but I did mention that we do a lot of awareness in the communities. We conduct community meetings. We have a whole unit, education and awareness. Its role is to create awareness and educate the communities about wildlife conservation, the benefits of wildlife conservation. Why should they support wildlife conservation? Why should we continue conserving? To create a sense of belongingness and a sense of ownership of what we are doing. This is what we are doing. But also, we have cases where animals go out of these protected areas and they go to communities, they destroy their crops, sometimes they kill their livestock, and some, of course, community members, not all, some community members also engage in retaliatory attacks, such as poisoning and others. But over and above, or by and large, I must say that we've had a good relationship with the communities, and we commend them, we thank them for the support that they have extended to us over the years as we do this conservation work.
Well, look at a few messages that are coming in from our viewers now. Well, good morning, UBC. I'm called James Musai Guamuseveni. As a local tourist, a Ugandan, how much do I pay to have access to the park? Lastly, if I want my child to join WUA, what is the procedure all he or she must have studied? Well, thanks for the morning breeze. I would like to know what measures you are putting in place to strengthen like your neighboring district, because it happened. Don't you think it might happen again? Okay, he's asking for the measures that have been put in place by WUA. And hello, I'm Silva from Soroti. I'm totally disappointed with Ugandans who want to run with gossip to everywhere concerning their own country. These people are failures even in life. Oh, this one is so... Ugandans that don't care what they post, what they say. Well, good morning. Thank you. I'm watching from Soroti. Thank you for watching. Then, good morning, UBC. I've really liked this man. He is highly trained officer. The only problem Uganda is facing is that these good people only come up to lecture us when there is a problem. These people leave the wrong people to talk and tarnish Uganda's image abroad. The rumor has it that you guys in WUA are being investigated, that you mismanaged some big money, and this could be a diversion. Tell us exactly what happened. And I'll just have two more. Parks are for government. Why do Ugandans don't feel the honor of these parks? And finally, thanks for the show. Okay, let's just go with those ones. And I would also, in the remaining time, focus more on this gorilla permit thing. It is a saga, and I think this is what one of the persons that sent a message.
Let me just briefly touch on the gorilla thing. You know, as an institution, we have our internal mechanisms, and we do permit transactions. So at some point, our internal systems raised the red flag that there were transactions that were doubtable, and the management decided that they institute a special audit. A special audit was done covering the period of 3 months from June to August this year, and this audit came out with findings that implicated some staff. Management took action quickly, notified police, but also suspended this staff to pave way for investigations. Management came out with a statement and informed Ugandans what happened. And critical to notice that this audit report pointed to a tune of around $134,000 US as funds that were lost during that period, approximately 500 million Uganda shillings. And since then, the matter has been handed to police, so police is investigating. We are waiting for the outcome of the investigations. That's what I can say about the permit issue. Yes. The other one is saying that we come out when there is a problem. That's not true. We usually come, but we can always continuously engage, but we take the observation in good faith. Maybe we are not doing enough. We need to improve. And of course, Ugandans, we owe Ugandans information. UWA is a public entity. So we'll see how we improve on how we disseminate information, or how often or frequently can we come and utilize some of these communication channels. The other one is about what we are doing. I just said something about it. I said we are working closely with the forces, police and the UPDF. We've been beefed up with more manpower. We are doing more patrols. We have done strategic deployments, so the parks are very safe. We are also strengthening our relationship with the communities to ensure that communities are able to give us information, and as such, there is no cause for worry. And the most important thing is that what happened is not something that happens on a daily or annually or even every after 5 years. No. So it is an isolated incident. We hope with the measures we've put in place will help us to ensure that such a happening doesn't happen again. So that is what we hope, but we'll take the support of everyone. It will take the support of everyone to be security conscious. If you see people you don't know, you are not aware of in your community, try to inform the leaders. They will see what to do so that we have a safe country. And also it will take the participation of each and every Ugandan to ensure that we redeem the good image, the image of Uganda, portray Uganda in positive light, attract many visitors to come. Once these many people come, we get a lot of money in the economy. Currently, the tourism industry employs over 670,000 people. Those are the jobs, minus UWA. So you can see there are quite a number of people who get affected when tourists don't come. So we need to have as many tourists as possible. We need to ensure that these protected areas are safe, but like I've said, we've put in place measures to ensure that they are safe, and I want to assure Ugandans to always visit these places. They are for them, you know, they are theirs. So they should come, enjoy the beauty that is within these protected areas. Someone asked how much do they pay. I said, you pay around 25,000 as a Ugandan, but a foreigner pays around $40. So please do come. It's not for the whites, it's not for the rich, it's for every person who loves to tour their country, every person who wants to support conservation. You want to see us doing a better job. For us to do this better job, we need more resources. So when you come, the 20,000 you pay, the 25,000 you pay is going to help us to buy fuel, it's going to help us to buy vehicles, it's going to help us to buy uniform for staff, it's going to help us to buy food for staff, it's going to help us to build accommodation facilities, it is going to help us to put in place tourism facilities, you know, so please do come and support conservation.
Well, Bashir, I must let you go, but before I do that, any final word to our viewer?
We thank you very much for supporting Uganda. We thank you very much for promoting Destination Uganda. You are all on social media. You all have social media accounts. Please use them to promote Destination Uganda. Show the beauty of your country. I invite as many people as possible to come and visit Uganda. We are a pearl of Africa, and we continue shining. I thank you.
Well, I just want to thank you so much. Bashir Hang, who happens to be the head of communication and the public relations officer, Uganda Wildlife Authority. Very important to note here is how you portray Uganda. Love Uganda, sell Uganda out to the world in an image that will not at any one time catch up with you. You're paying school fees for students who are specializing in the tourism sector, but you're the very person who is sending images tainting your country. Let's be patriotic. Let's be patriotic. One time I had a friend who is a journalist in America, and there's some content I wanted, and they said, no, that is for the American people. I can't send it to you. I was like, but I don't see any danger in it. He said, it was during COVID. He said, no, that is for American people. My brother, I cannot send you the information you want. It had nothing to do with security, but just something. But I saw one that they love their country so much. Let's love Uganda. It's all we have. And it's us to sell our country. See you in the next hour. The tall man is here to take you through sports updates. I'll return later on. Good morning.
UBC is the national public broadcaster. We educate, inform, entertain, and inspire our audiences. You can watch us on free-to-air channel 001, DSTV channel 282, GoTV channel 371, Star Times channel 201, Zuku TV channel 20, and Azam TV channel 350. Even when your subscription expires, you can still watch UBC for free on your pay TV platforms.